So I'm here at Devil's Bridge, which is a short while away from Aberystwyth, the place where our journey as marine biologists, in terms of our professional sense, started for myself, Ben and Adam. And so I'm back here to explore the area and just come back to where it all started. So I'm going to take you across this beautiful valley. We're going to see the waterfalls here, and also I'm going to take you across the Ceredigion and the Cardigan Bay coastline and show you what you can find and the wildlife that we have. It is a fantastic place to come, and if you get a chance to have a break away from the busy life, I recommend coming to places like this where you can just step back into nature, walk around, and you get views like this behind me. Absolutely stunning. So come with me and welcome to Naturescope. Here is Devil's Falls. Here you have the waterfall itself. Absolutely magnificent. Hopefully you can hear me over the roaring of the water. But just along the waterfall itself, the waterfall is cutting its own path through the mountain. And so this water has been locked in underground and then is coming out and following, channeling down the mountains where we get the waterfalls. We'll then hit and follow the stream, which then will then take it into the sea along the Cardigan coastline. Now with waterfalls, generally in the main particular pathway, there isn't much life. There might be a few bits of algae, whereas around it is extremely rich. That's where you have mosses and lichens growing, and with smaller waterfalls, that's where you'll find the salmonids, the salmon and the trout, making their way up the watercourses back to the places to spawning, and then they will be jumping up these waterfalls. You think, how on earth will something jump up there? But they do. They are powerful fish fighting against it, jumping up, making their way. Absolutely incredible. It shows you what nature can do. So we're now right next to part of the waterfall. You can see on the main stream there are only a few plants, but mainly it's bare. And again, you've got a bit of algae in there, but around it, you've got a lush amount of life. So you've got these beautiful ferns and all of this moss and lichen growing here. So across this area you have temperate rainforests. Now the UK as a whole has a temperate climate, meaning that it changes from cold to warm. And this is a temperate rainforest that thrive like a rainforest that we have over like the Amazon, but instead we have something that can thrive in all different temperatures. So the lichen and the moss here love the damp environment and growing here a lot in the sheltered bits of the rocks, and that brings in so much life, so much variety of different species, and that's what makes it a temperate rainforest. Well, I'm going to have to talk really, really loudly now in order for you to hear you. I don't know if you will be, and so I'll dub it over if you can't. But we're now at the top part where I showed you back there, the water rushing through the mountain. And just down below me, I'll show you in a bit, there was a tree that's obviously come down, been knocked down from the sheer force of the water. Now something like this should never be taken lightly, and you should just always respect it from a distance like we are here on this platform. But incredible. You can see the tree there. See how large it was and how forceful the water is rushing over it. Again, nothing to underestimate.
So here we have the beach segment of our video, just walking along the strand line here. If you cast your minds back to when Adam has been doing various videos on his coastline, he's been talking a lot about the strand line, where you can find the strand line and what you can find at the strand line. So the strand line itself is an area where the water comes up to at high water mark and pushes all of the debris that has been taken by the sea up on the beach. Now, the reason why it gets stranded there is because it doesn't have enough energy to then be taken back into the sea, and so it's pushed up there. Depending on the levels of where the strand line is on different beaches, that's to do with how far the sea goes up, and sometimes you can get ones way up if there's been a particular storm. And so I'm just going through some of the seaweed species that we found here. So there's a lot of fucoids here, and that's Fucus serratus, and so that is a fucoid you can see there on the leaves. This one in particular has quite serrated leaf or frond structure. And just lifting back all the seaweed types, you can see what might be in that particular area. So there is a bit of sea lettuce, or Ulva lactuca is the Latin name, clinging on there, as well as some red algae species as well. When you actually peel back that algae, what it's doing is protecting a lot of the animals underneath that feeds on that decaying matter. And so when you lift it back, you actually discover certain things such as sandhoppers. There's a bit of Condescrisis filiformis, and on that is some bryozoan, which are actually animals themselves. So that, I believe, is a Lecture pilosa, a type of bryozoan, and they are epiphytic, which means they grow on other things, but they can grow themselves as well as separate entities on fronds, and that's just covering there. There's a tiny little animal inside too. And there we go, just lifting back there, you might see things hopping around and jumping around. They're all the things that are hiding from being dried out underneath all of that weed. So you never know what you're going to find on the strand line. Pretty cool. So I just wanted to pause from the actual content just to let you know that a sensitive subject might be coming up in the next clip. It is to do with a deceased animal that I did find on the beach. It was a very good opportunity to show the actual features of this particular animal without having to actually take one from the water and put it under any stress. It was fresh. I wouldn't recommend anyone doing that unless you knew what you were doing, what you were looking out for. But I just wanted to pause from the content just to let you know that if you weren't comfortable and you weren't wanting to watch this, that you can skip later on in the video. It's just a small short clip just to show you the features of this animal, but I totally understand if it is not for everybody. So please do skip if you would like to. Thank you. So here I found this deceased small shark. This is a lesser spotted cat shark. It's one of the smaller species of shark that we have on the UK coastline. So this shark is specifically built to swim around small spaces such as rock pools, which the area was full of, in search of food. You see me there touching the skin there. The skin is quite rough, and that's due to these small V-shaped scales that they have. They are called dermal denticles, and all sharks have these. You can see the small paddle-like tail there to give it that power through the waves. Unfortunate that we found the shark like this, but it gave us a good opportunity to show you what they are like. Pointing around the head here, that's because they have these really high-powered sensing cells at the front there called ampules of Lorenzini. It's quite a strange name there, but that helps them search for food amongst the seaweed. So in the Life in the Rock Pool series, we talked about some of the things you might be able to find on the UK coastline. So I thought I'd just take us on the Cardigan Bay tour and have a look at what we can find. So here we've got a lot of fucoids and a lot of algae species, this one being Fucus spiralis. You can tell by the fact that when you hold its fronds up, they spiral. And you can see the bobbly bits there, they're actually the air sacs that hold the kelp up so that it gets the seaweed up, so it gets the sunlight when the water is at high tide. And just where we started here, I pointed at this little number here. This is Corallina officinalis, and it is a calcified algae. As I said, moving back the rock there, we've got some barnacles on here. Now I wasn't really able to ID these. If you look at the plates that they are, they're actually crustaceans. Just giving the view there, that's how they feed. The animal comes out and drifts and moves as the water comes across. And here we have Littorina littorea, the common periwinkle, and they absolutely cover the shoreline. Large gastropod there, large sea snail. And you can see those white tracks there, that's actually the snail moving along using its toothed tongue known as a radula to eat away. You've got the limpets there, just checking under the rocks, again making sure that I put the rock back exactly in the same spot that I find it, taking great care. Again, those tracks again, that toothed tongue, the radula of the snail is taking away all the algae off of the rocks, leaving that trail behind. You can see all there, the patchy areas of all the seaweed, you've got the rock balls. This is such a rich environment. So many different levels. You've got underneath the rocks, you've got underneath the seaweeds, you've got the bare rocks itself where the snails can then go around it, again lifting it all up. Occasionally you'll get things like that where the sand lifts up and you've just got to wait for that all to clear before you can find what you are looking for. Again, it's all about taking your time, searching under everything. Not every rock will have something under it. It is simply a waiting game. That's what's such a great thing about rock pooling, is you never know what you're going to find and what you're going to come across. Again, taking my care not to damage anything as we lift it up. You've got some worm casts here as well. That's really cool. So that is left behind from the worm as it's eating all of the bacteria and things from the soil and the sand. And here we go. Here is a juvenile Carcinus minus, or the green shore crab. These are really special crabs, and they've actually become invasive in certain parts of the world due to how well adaptive they could be at different temperature ranges. But here in the UK, they are common and they are native. But here we have Tilichus saltata, or it is a sandhopper. It's an amphipod species and another crustacean. And here it's climbing up the sea wall here. You'll be able to see at the end of the video why it's called a sandhopper. I actually slowed down a video of when they were first being properly looked at to see how they jumped themselves. So you can see the modified back legs there. Wing, off it goes. Thank you so much for coming along to me with this video. It was so nice to be back and walking along Cardigan Bay again and Aberystwyth and walking along the foreshore, just having a look at all the different animals and native species that we have. It's great to get out there, go for a walk and take a look. But thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned, stay subscribed, hit that bell icon. Thank you for watching.